Women who haven't hit the wall are those women are still in their prime with porcelain skin and luscious golden hair. The wall has not taken them yet. As a woman enters her early 30s, the emotional and physical ground beneath her feet begins to shift and most women are ill-prepared for the wall. The wall is a generic term used to describe the point in time when a woman has passed her prime in terms of physical beauty. Many women in their early 30s have spent nearly 20 years with the ability to easily attract male attention. They can go on dates with men ranging in age from their early 20s to their 50s and 60s. Men of all ages and socioeconomic backgrounds have lavished them with affection and attention. Many women have told me stories about how dirty 50-year-old men would hit on them when they were in their 20s. They'd have high school boys trying to get them to put out when they were 25. For a woman in her 20s, the world is her oyster. The majority of women can easily get male attention from men in any age group when they're in their 20s, and then after 30 to 35 their looks begin to change, and all of a sudden the teenagers, 20-somethings, and even men their own age start to disappear because they're giving their attention to younger women. So many women feel like they aren't being treated fairly by men from their own age group. 35-year-old women wonder why 35-year-old men don't want to date them and marry them. And the reality of the situation is that a 35-year-old man with a job, money, and a car can attract women in their 20s that are more youthful and beautiful. Most men take a year or two to get to know a woman and another year to get engaged and finally married. So, if a man meets a 35-year-old woman and follows this procedure, she will be 38 before they marry, and her chances of having children will be greatly reduced by then. A woman in her late 20s to early 30s. As a suitor, he needs to start looking at men in their late 30s, 40s, and possibly 50s. Many of these older men are already married, have children, and are the only ones left on the market. These men may desire a second wife, and if they are divorced, they most likely have children. I know a couple of women in their mid-30s that don't seem to want to believe this. They tell me the only guys that are looking at them are over 40, and they think it's gross. These same women spent their 20s jumping from one short-term relationship to another, and now they don't know what's happened. Things weren't supposed to be the way they are, and they never thought that they would be in this position. It's a shock for many of them that men are the ones choosing women instead of women choosing the men. The natural order of relationships has been flipped in favor of. And it's hard for women to accept that they aren't being pursued like they once were, and that their choice of men has gone from the entire male side of the human race to a sliver of men that have physically been burned by women or are players, or are men that understand the nature of the desperation of women in their 30s. It's even worse for mothers with newborns. They desperately want a child and don't care how they get one. It will sleep around unprotected and inform many men that they are on the pill when they are not. I knew one guy who had 3 children in 3 years with 3 different women. He is now paying child support for 2 children, and he's living with the mother of his 3rd child. I used to believe that once their friends started having babies, many women my age would follow suit. Many of my female friends in their mid-30s who are in relationships have decided against having children. Groups of 10 to 15 women who hang out together all choose not to have children because these 35-year-old women are still partying and going out clubbing like they did in their 20s. The 1 or 2 women who did have children are no longer welcomed into this particular social circle. It sickens me to see women going out and trying to pick up 25-year-old men. Most of these 25-year-olds want sex, and selling themselves short like this destroys many women's self-esteem. But they don't seem to mind. They crave the attention of young, attractive men and want to prolong the party until they reach middle age. The second wall hits many women in their early to mid-40s, and at that point, many lose the ability to attract the male gender. Even the 20-year-old guys just interested in sex, that's usually when they start putting on extra weight and start hitting menopause. Asian and Black women take a bit longer to hit the wall. However, when many of them lose their looks, they age rapidly. A 38 or 39-year-old Asian woman may go from looking 29 or 30 to looking in her early 40s in a matter of years. Maybe I'm mistaken, but that's what I've noticed. Maybe it's because I'm a white male that I'm not seeing the wall that appeared 10 years before she turned 40. Please correct me if I'm mistaken. This is just my observation, and I'd love to hear more about this phenomenon. When it comes to sexual maturity, women typically mature faster than men. Because the sooner they arrive, the better the chances of our species' survival. Especially during times when resources were scarce, women have always had the reproductive advantage when it comes to reproducing their own genes, but because they blossom younger, they also wither faster. Men's ability to access resources and money is what will more often than not attract a woman's attention. And smart men who work hard and save money will only become more appealing to women over time. Men, on the other hand, are drawn to women's ability to reproduce. So women are dealt all of their poker chips at the start of their lives. Consider a young man and a young woman playing poker, both of whom are in their early 20s. The woman is given 90 chips while the man is given 1. But by the time they reach the age of 35, he has 85 of those chips, and she has only 6. The aging process can be compared to a game of poker, with both sides attempting to conceal the true nature of their cards through bluffing and other forms of deception. Your financial chips have a significant impact on your status and options. They squandered their money when they were young. Rather than saving it, they would travel, buy shoes, eat out a few times a week, and spend a lot of time with their friends. When they reach their mid-30s, they will also spend a lot of money on makeup and cab rides. I've met women who are deeply in debt, both consumer and student, and are looking for a man with money to bail them out. I know dozens of women who have told me they're looking for a sugar daddy to assist them in repaying their debts. The aging wall is often a great psychological shock to the system for women. It's for them. Men age more slowly, and once they reach their 40s, they can date a wider range of 20-somethings in their mid to late 30s. Women, my single friends, notice that they hold the majority of the cards and poker chips in the new dating game. But recently I've made many of them aware of Mikta, so they're falling right out of that dating game and doing what makes them happy. Instead, the wall takes no prisoners and can't be bargained with.